I'm Kat.
And I'm Hayley.
And this is Night Classy,
a tipsy night class teaching the oddities and curiosities you never learned in school.
Where are you taking us on this learning journey, Hayley?
I will be taking us down a list today.
Oh, it's been a while.
It has. I'm back to my roots, back to my natural habitat.
Good.
Back to where I just feel like me.
I was hoping you'd come with something like simplistic today because my brain is dead and I don't think I could pay attention to anything complicated.
See, I did it for you. I did the simplicity of a list for you and not for me, whose brain also felt dead yesterday when I was doing my research.
You know what? It's the outcome, not the thought that counts.
I'm completely altruistic in every way possible.
Mine is fairly simplistic as well. I will be telling you a highly topical and highly pink lesson today.
Oh, Barbie.
Maybe,
I see.
maybe.
The inventor of Barbie.
Briefly, we'll talk about
cover
that.
her.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll run the whole gamut. Mostly scandals. There's a lot of those. So.
Oh, I'm
And
sure.
This is a PowerPoint heavy lesson. So if you
Perfect
don't
for a
normally
pod.
watch on YouTube, maybe you should listen to my lesson on YouTube because it's much more enjoyable with the slides. I
With
did a big
pictures.
slideshow this week. Because how
Okay.
can you talk about Barbie without looking at pictures?
You cannot
Right.
do that. I have all of my Barbie ornaments that I collect. I'm a big Barbie girl. If I wouldn't have felt shame about playing with Barbies, I probably would still be playing them today. Easily.
My Barbies, I only played with as accessories to the animal toys that I had. So I liked making them like ride the horses and walk the dogs. But I was a freaking weirdo
Animal
and
heavy.
only cared about animals and still do.
I like that. I like that about you. You've always been who you are.
But the worst part about Barbies is that you can't like spread their legs, so they can't sit on the horse. It's fucking stupid. You buy a Barbie horse and the Barbies can't even sit on it.
Can't spread the legs. Can't save a horse.
She can
Gotta
do
ride
the
a
splits,
cowboy.
but she can't ride a horse. Make that make sense.
You can't. Well, you needed the Barbie that could open the legs, like the ballerina Barbie.
Yeah, some of them
I don't know
can.
if you're familiar.
I didn't have any of the fancy ones, I feel like. We'll talk about some of their occupations in my lesson, but
So many. She's so busy.
she is. And I feel like I only had basic Barbie. I had like a blonde one and a brunette one, and they were just the generic Barbie.
Oh,
I did have a
God.
mermaid Barbie. I liked her.
Did you have the Barbie dog that pooped little pellets?
No.
Oh.
But I wish I did.
Yeah, it sounds like you're really missing out. You needed that. I'm pretty sure it got recalled because the kids were like eating little pellets that they would eat. Obviously, it's small items and kids don't go well together. But
Yeah, I learned that lesson the other day when a coworker's 4-year-old son came to hang out in my classroom. And I was letting him play with my toys, and he's playing with my little bingo machine, and he has a handful of bingo balls and goes, "Can I eat them?" Like,
They wanna
dear
put
God, no. Please
everything
don't.
in their mouth. Have him eat the bingo balls, and then in whatever order he poops them out. There's just something special about that. That
And then you
needs to
play
be
those
the
lottery numbers.
Yes, that's the key to becoming a billionaire. No one, I'm sure it has never been done in history before.
No.
Surely not.
I think you've cracked the code. Someone
Where's the
try
kid?
that.
Someone
Let
give
me
me
know.
the kid.
But yeah, the way my heart dropped. And they don't even look edible. They're white. I could see it maybe if they were colorful like gumballs or something, but
It's
I don't know.
impressive that they asked.
Yeah, I appreciated that a lot. I don't know how I would have explained that to his mom.
I wouldn't have said anything. Where's the proof? You could have seen it. You could have not. Who's to say?
Yeah.
Plausible deniability is perfect in this scenario. Truly.
So true. I mean, as long as he doesn't choke on it, she probably won't even see it. Right? He's not in diapers anymore, I assume.
He's on the toilet and you're like,
It comes out like rabbit poop.
What could go wrong? What could possibly go wrong?
A lot of things, but that's
So many things. But it didn't happen, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Kids are freaking nuts.
They are. I experienced that firsthand today. Today was my first day of school with children. So if I sound tired and brain dead and like I've lost my voice, it's all of the above.
She's lying. She's just making up excuses.
No, I did actually have a pretty easy. They did our schedule so weird. I already told Hayley this and nobody else cares, but I'm going to say it anyway. I had one class for 3 hours today and then didn't have kids for the rest of the day. So like it was a weird random schedule they decided to do, but it worked out in my favor because I had a lot of free time.
What do you even do with the same group of kids for 3 hours?
Girl, I went through, it's Wednesday today, and I went through like pretty much like tomorrow and Friday's stuff with them. And so they'll just be ahead. I planned out some social emotional learning lessons for them tomorrow, self-paced on the computer because I don't have anything else for them.
Yeah. Right on. Well, you're here now.
I am here.
You made it through 2 more days till the freaking weekend.
Yes. And Friday is
cocktail hour. Yes.
It'll be a great way to end the week.
It will be. What cocktail do you think you're going to reach for?
You know what? I don't know, but it's been too long since I've made one of my witchcraft cocktails from my little book. So I was thinking about breaking that open. I don't know when. I think I'll have time to gather all the ingredients because it's always weird shit like ginger syrup and those cocktails are like muddled boysenberries. But I'm going to try. I'm going to do my best and we'll see what I have.
Make some witch's brew. Mm-hmm. I think that's a great idea because it is Halloween season officially.
Absolutely is. You're wearing your Halloween shirt.
It really is year round for me personally, but officially it is October.
Yeah, even though it's 101 degrees outside.
Hey, what can we do about climate change? Not much personally. Like, we can recycle and do all that good stuff, but really it's on the corporations.
So true. Yeah, so we just are along for the ride and hopefully it stops eventually.
I'm hoping that would be really wonderful. Can you imagine if it's like we turn things around?
That would be so nice.
We're not in imminent danger.
One thing you actually can do is like meat-free Mondays. I know not everyone wants to go full vegetarian or vegan, but like animal production is a huge part of global warming. So like if you just like cut down on your meat or dairy intake, that goes a long way.
Very true.
Not everyone can, and that's fine.
Carpool,
recycle. Yeah, this is a environmental podcast where we give advice on
quit
saving
your
the
job. Don't drive to work.
Just stay at home and play Stardew Valley all day.
Turn off the AC. Live your colonial woman dreams.
Homestead in the city.
Commune in the city.
I'm down.
We're growing plants.
Remember that like era on TikTok where there was that like homesteading cult compound and people were like getting stuck there and it was a whole dramatic thing.
That was weird.
That was so weird. I'm glad that's hopefully over. I don't see it on my FYP anymore, so I don't know.
The thing I see and that's stuck in my head from my FYP is girl dinner.
Oh my God.
Girl dinner.
Girl dinner. I cannot relate to that. I have to make a real meal.
Oh my God. Every night in college for me was girl dinner. And I used to run back then. So I'd get back from running, however many miles and be like, okay, so I've got a stick of cheese and a waffle. Sounds good.
College was a little different because I would buy like a Chipotle bowl or a teriyaki or something like early in the day and make that last all day.
All day.
Or I would eat Trader Joe's potatoes and peppers like jumble.
Oh, yeah. A potato and whatever you want to add to it. Bowl goes a long way.
And that was my diet. I also worked at a restaurant and would like I worked the morning shift because I was a barista, and then they'd make me food, and I'd also make that last all day because I had no money.
You have to. You got to let it stretch. At the restaurant I worked at, they gave you free rolls, and I ate so many rolls.
That sounds so good.
I'm a carb queen.
I used to make them. Well, not make them. I would request that they made me. I would just get like a bowl of tofu with rice and like a bunch of vegetables. Like it wasn't stuff that was on the menu, but I'd just like have them put a bunch of shit together and like put cheese on it. Like I don't care. Just throw everything in and I would just eat that.
You were going to Flavor Town. You're making it happen.
It was actually very flavorless because it was like plain tofu, plain rice, like sauteed peppers, onions, mushrooms, like everything just thrown in there. And then I'd put like sriracha on it or something.
Ew.
It was disgusting.
That sounds bad. Why didn't you just have them like make you something that they did at the restaurant?
Because most of the stuff at the restaurant didn't reheat very well. Because it was like French fries and like sandwiches and stuff like that. And I needed it to be microwavable because I needed to eat it for dinner as well.
That is an absolute necessity. Mm-hmm. I don't know when air fryers officially were released for public consumption, but I know that I didn't get mine till like 2021 or 22, and it is a game changer for leftovers.
I still don't have an air fryer. I don't even have a microwave. Or a toaster. We have nothing.
You don't have a microwave?
We just use our stove. We need to buy all those things, but
you are homesteading.
Yeah. I don't like spending money on things.
You don't need to buy all those things.
No.
Buy things that make you happy.
I have animals to support. I can't be spending money on toasters. Yeah. Got to send my cats to college.
Children.
Okay?
Yeah, one day because they're definitely going to get in.
They're so smart.
Ghost will get in.
Yeah.
I know. Ghost will teach. He is an academic.
Ghost is like that kid who's too smart for school, so he stops trying and drops out because it's like boring for him. Like he's above it.
It's really unfortunate. He's bored in class.
Yeah, and then he has like a crisis as an adult because he like had so much potential and wasted it.
Yeah, that sucks. That sucks. Now he's living with his parents still.
Yeah.
Which, no offense to anyone who still lives with their parents, but as a cat,
it's kind
how
of
old must he be?
Speaking of cats, though, if we have any listeners in driving distance of Memphis who want kittens, we have some wild kittens living in our backyard that we're going to trap and try to find homes for. So
please come pick them up.
Please, I will drive
even
to
if you're
you.
not in driving distance, road trip.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, seriously, slide into our DMs if you want a kitten. There's like a tortoisey gray one and a black one.
You could have the reincarnations. Well, they're not dead, but Ernie and Safety, our cats, who are brothers. Apparently, I'm starting to wonder if maybe they aren't actually brothers, though.
Why?
Truthfully.
I feel like they're pretty similar.
Because Ernie's paws are huge, and he's so like muscular.
He is not muscular. He's
like beefy. He's like
he is beefy.
Dense.
That's true.
But Safty's paws are like so tiny and small. Like Safty's also a blimp, but I just wonder if maybe they put like a bunch of kittens together with the mom. Like maybe some were hers, but some they, needed to foster mom.
I don't know. Maybe.
We need to get the paternity
to the
test.
Bottom of this. Yeah, get the cat's a DNA test. And it just says, yep, it's a cat.
Yeah, well, you did that I
did it with Georgia, but with dogs is different. I feel like cat DNA tests don't tell you anything. Maybe that's just my own misconception, but
yeah, it's a
cats
short
are
hair.
Cats. Yeah, unless it's a Siamese or a Sphinx or something, it's just a cat.
Yeah, well, we shall see. Anyway, back to the whole point of wherever this conversation led us.
Oh,
cocktail hour on Friday, August 4th or 5th? 4th, on the 4th. And we do that at 7 p.m. Central Time. So if you're in a different time zone, figure it out, baby.
Make it work. It's on Patreon, and it's available to every tier. So low to high, you are welcome to join us at Cocktail Hour.
Low to high. We love you guys, and we'll see you there.
Yes.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. I need to cough.
Okay.
I coughed. I feel much better. There's still just a touch of the pneumonia hanging on.
It lingers.
Pneumonia.
Pneumonia.
And it's my turn to go first this week. We have finally, I think, given in to just taking turns. in this life. No more breathalyzing.
Maybe someday we will have the planning to record on weekends again and can drink, but for the time being,
I'm trying to feel maybe not good in the morning. Obviously, okay, I want to feel good, but like most mornings, I'm like, oh, I can't fucking wake up. I'm just trying to not be fighting everything in my soul, like hungover.
Oh, yeah.
To wake up in the morning.
The fact that we used to go out Fridays and Saturdays and like be hungover like multiple days per week is horrifying.
Even on
I get a hangover
nights.
now. Yeah. And I'm like, my life is over. I'm never doing this again.
Like, I need an IV. Yeah. I will die right now. Don't make me do it.
The pandemic changed things.
It really did. It really did. Long gone are the nights of chugging our boxed wine.
Picking up a 12-pack of White Claws on the way home from work on Friday, and then like drinking them all that weekend.
If not that night.
For real.
Pre-gaming.
Embarrassing.
It's so funny, you guys. Like, maybe one day we'll drink again, and there's 4 White Claws and a bottle of champagne on the table.
We're not gonna drink all of it though. I'm gonna drink this one White Claw.
Where I'm sitting. Maybe one day we'll drink.
What if we're like total binge drinkers and we're just trying to make it seem like we don't drink?
We're
surrounded by alcohol. Yeah.
People watching this on YouTube keep track of how many repours.
It's not in the camera frame, so we're safe.
Yeah.
For all they know, this is a lie.
Yeah, we're totally sober.
Yeah.
I have my redemption cocktail. You have your White Claw.
Mm-hmm.
We're set.
Pineapple flavor.
Pineapple.
Sorry. I expected you to start telling your story.
I expected you to react to that funny word I just said.
I smiled.
Fine.
I smiled.
No, I did. You looked at me.
Oh, well, looking at you neutrally is a smile for me.
Meet in the middle with RBF. I'll take it. Okay, so today I am a list bitch, back to my roots, and we are learning about syndromes that are named after cities.
Cool, that's random.
And the reason why I picked this, okay, there are several really great and academic, truly, sources on this, but it was inspired by a spooky lesson that I wanted to tell for Halloween, but there wasn't enough like information on it, so I kind of expanded it, and that was from last year. So this first syndrome, when I started to research it last year for like Halloween, it was referred to as the Chicago sleep deaths. But
yes. I have also
this.
tried to research that, and there wasn't enough.
It's so weird. There's not enough. And now that I've looked into it, it's like nothing is linking it to Chicago anymore. But you know what I'm talking about.
I think so.
It's so weird, I swear, because I have it in my notes as Chicago sleep deaths. So I think maybe it was like a neighborhood specifically experiencing this because it's a very specific population. But this syndrome is actually the inspiration, or one of the inspirations for Wes Craven in the making of the character Freddy Krueger.
Yes.
And if you haven't seen the movies, Freddy Krueger is a character in the movie in A Nightmare on Elm Street, and he killed people in their dreams, which then caused them to die in the real world as well. Sorry if that's a spoiler, but I felt like it's
spoiler alert.
Necessary context from the movie from 1984.
It's been around.
The statute of limitations is gone,
much like Harry Potter. Alec.
Harry Potter, I'm not sure. When did he start to come out?
The
1997
90s.
or 19 something?
I think 97, the year of my birth. I've never lived in a world without Harry Potter.
I don't know. That's debatable, but we've had that conversation many times, so I'm going to keep reading my notes. Some of Wes's inspiration came while reading an LA Times article about a Cambodian genocide refugee, and this person was actually a child. This poor baby they had moved to America, and they were so afraid to fall asleep and experience the nightmares that they were consistently having. And so he just started to refuse to fall asleep. And in one of the articles, Wes said, when he finally fell asleep, his parents thought the crisis was over. Then they heard screams in the middle of the night. By the time they got to him, he was dead.
Oh my God.
He died in the middle of a nightmare. And unfortunately, this was not the only case of this unexpected sleep death. Dozens of people seeking refuge from Southeast Asia came to America and died for unknown reasons in their sleep. In fact, all but one of their victims were men, like 20 to 40-ish years old, who faced war, persecution, and violence in their home country. And like you do with trauma, you carry it with you. You can't just shake it off, you know?
Yeah, if only.
She's baggage. And so headlines in America started to read things like mysterious fatal malady striking Hmong men and night deaths of Asian men unexplained. Investigators could find no medical explanation for the deaths and ruled out any like chemical nerve agents they may have been exposed to. The symptoms were not like that of those who have been exposed to things like napalm and the like. It's now been classified as sudden unexplained nocturnal death syndrome, but the cause is still in question.
Is it possible their nightmare was so bad it gave them a heart attack?
That's what I think it is. I think it has to be. It's really interesting, though, that we don't see this in other populations who have trauma or PTSD.
Yeah.
So some members of the Hmong, and I should have checked if I'm pronouncing that correctly, so I do apologize, but it's spelled Hmong. The Hmong community, they believe that their ancestors are upset and that's what's causing these deaths. But some doctors believe that their years of stress and all of the trauma that they've been through and witnessed, plus moving so far from their home country to America, which is a completely alien society compared to their homes, just kind of like tips them over the edge once they move here. So in regards to it being in Chicago, I'm wondering if the sources that I saw last year, if it was a neighborhood of people who were like starting this community in Chicago in the 80s or something, and that's why Chicago was linked to it.
Yeah.
But just really, really scary.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
So
I don't even know what to say.
Starting strong. Well, I'll move on to the next one then. So our next syndrome is Jerusalem syndrome, and it affects about 100 visitors each and every year. It first appeared in the 1930s, and it's no walk in the park. Almost half of those experiencing Jerusalem syndrome have to be hospitalized. Symptoms typically last up to a few weeks after a visit to Jerusalem and consist of, quote, religiously themed obsessive ideas, delusions, or other psychosis-like experiences after visiting Jerusalem.
They're just people that won't shut up about their vacation.
I'm telling you guys, it was magical. It was holy.
When I was in Jerusalem last summer,
you go to Jerusalem and get like the cornrows. How people do like in the Caribbean.
I had those when I went to Mexico, and there are pictures of me, and they put little like beads in them that looked like flowers. And for years, like I went to Mexico when I was 3 until I was 10 and we moved out of our house. I was finding those beads like around the house.
Girl, what were you doing
were
with
everywhere.
them? Did you chew on like the ends of your hair? Like,
No, they were just like braided in, and so they'd like randomly fall out and like, fall everywhere, and they were tiny.
That's kind of fun though. It brings up that little memory, that little point in time whenever you find them. That's cute. Yeah. Go to Jerusalem, get your hair braided. Get your
friendship bracelets.
Yeah.
Your anklets like made of seashells. It's the whole thing.
The things you do. Yeah. So they're just super hyped about their vacation. And it's not limited to like Christians. This syndrome causes individuals to believe, though they are important biblical figures like John the Baptist, Jesus, Samson, and the Virgin Mary. Symptoms come on gradually. You start with a little anxiety creeping in, a little nervousness, maybe a little insomnia. Those affected may feel the need to be alone, to get away from their families or from their tour groups so that they can go out and see all of the holy places themselves as the holy being they believe themselves to be.
That's fair. I prefer to sightsee by myself.
Listen, if I need to have a syndrome to get away,
Right.
I'll do it.
Yeah, it's just people that want to do what they want to do.
Let's call it Hayley syndrome because I need my alone time.
Right. And I need to go where I want to go. Like, no, I don't want to sit by the pool or get ice cream or do whatever you want to do. I want to do what I want to do on vacation.
And I'm on
It's important.
vacation. I don't want to feel like I'm dragging you against your will to go to an ancient fucking cemetery.
True.
I don't want to do that. I don't want that pressure on me.
Right.
I want to go to the cemetery alone. So they want to get away from their families. And as they see all the holy places, they may feel the need to complete purification rituals such as shaving all of their body hair, clipping their nails, and washing themselves.
That's just having
That's
hygiene.
just hygiene. It's just hygiene,
Yeah,
but
maybe not the body hair part, but the rest of it.
you know how things are what you make them. If you make it a holy ritual, if you put the energy into it, then it's a holy
Yeah,
ritual,
anything
babe.
can be a ritual. I've been trying to be more mindful lately, and every time I take a shower, I'm cleansing my energy.
Yes. Oh, I totally agree. I love a good shower. I had to shower in the morning the other day. It set off my whole freaking schedule. I'm a night shower girl.
I'm a night shower as well.
All the way. I have to.
Because if you shower in the morning, you'd have to wake up at like 5, at least for me.
Yeah, and that's not happening. I am
No.
a 6 o'clock, maybe even 7 if I'm really pushing it, wake up girly.
Yeah.
Even if I go to bed at like 9. I need my sleep. I don't know what to tell you.
You guys have Memphis syndrome.
What's
Is that depression?
I'm just saying, like, whatever behavior you have, you just add a city to it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
we
true.
do. Bitching about grocery stores. Memphis syndrome. I think everyone has some Memphis syndrome here.
Talking obsessively about cats.
Yeah.
Memphis syndrome.
Bitching about the weather.
Memphis syndrome. Memphis syndrome. How about that? That's kind of fun.
Memphistrum.
Who are you fisting? The Memphis Fisto. Bow, 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 bow. Okay, well, anyway. Many with those who are experiencing Jerusalem syndrome have also gone to the old city to shout sermons in the street. And although it does mostly affect Christians, it's not limited to Christianity. It has also affected Jews, Muslims, and other religious faiths. While it was originally officially clinically described by a Jerusalem psychiatrist, Heinz Hermann, in the 1930s, cases of Jerusalem syndrome have been observed officially since the Middle Ages. So there are three types of patients who have been classified. We have a couple different levels. Type 1 is someone who has been previously diagnosed with a psychiatric mental illness. They often visit Jerusalem because they have pre-existing religious delusions. Type 2 is someone who is obsessive over religion or has extreme religious beliefs, but no prior mental illness. So a little like swip swap of 1 and 2. Now, type 3 is, quote, perhaps the most fascinating. Type 3, people have no previous mental health issues, but have a psychotic episode when they visit, only to recover after leaving Jerusalem.
Okay.
A recent case of what's thought to be Jerusalem happened in 2018. 29-year-old devoted Christian Oliver McAfee left his life in County Down, Ireland, left it all behind in order to, according to his friend, quote, cycle across Europe to find himself and get in touch with himself again and find God.
Wait. He's not biking to Jerusalem, though, is he?
He's biking through Jerusalem.
Or through Jerusalem or Europe?
I think he did Europe and also was
Okay.
in Jerusalem. Yeah. He
Okay.
probably like flew at some point.
I would
He's going
think.
on his soul journey.
Okay, I'm going to stop asking questions.
Good,
Just let this
because
man live his life.
I don't know.
It sounded like a trailer moment where you were like, wait a second, you're telling me he's going to ride his bike across Europe?
That's impossible. They have
Owen
to
Wilson.
part the sea.
I just can't imagine how it would be possible to ride your bike like across the border into Jerusalem.
The thing
Did they
about
let that
me
happen? I
is
don't know.
that I have no idea what it would be like. Why wouldn't you be able to ride your bike?
I don't know.
You gotta have a car to get in? Are they
don't-
classist?
I don't know. I don't know. Stop asking me questions.
Yeah, how the turntables. It's getting turned on you. Let's see. Can you We'll Google it
Well,
later.
later.
Let me finish this, but I am interested. So anyway, Oliver was last seen riding his bike through the Negev desert in November 2018. Police found a trail of papers, though, under various stones with religious writings and quotes from the Bible on them. And they also found strewn about like his wallet, Oliver's keys, his bike, and his tablet. And he hasn't been seen since.
Okay, well, he
So-
just hasn't been resurrected yet.
If you see a white guy with long hair and a beard, it might not be Jesus. It might be Oliver. But in all seriousness, yeah, it's still an open case. He's still missing.
Oof, that's scary.
But they think that he was experiencing Jerusalem syndrome.
Do you think they're on some kind of electromagnetic fault line that has caused
No,
centuries?
I think it's religion, and that can cause people to have delusions.
Yeah.
I know. I was just trying to think past the social aspect and like, what if there was some kind of force that was making people wonky over there?
I mean, I'm sure it has like a very powerful energy with just like how much has happened there
Yeah.
spiritually.
Some of the sources that I read talked about how the history of it and how far back it goes is really overwhelming
Yeah,
for a
it
lot
would
of
be
people
powerful.
to see in front of you. So I think that's just it.
Yeah.
I think it's an incredible sight. And if you already have either a pre-existing mental condition or are really into your religion, being there, and you know the old city is crazy town. It is really overwhelming. On to the next one.
Yes.
All right, Paris syndrome. It also mostly affects a very specific population, that being first-time visitors from Japan who are in their 30s.
Oh, wow. That is specific.
Yeah, you didn't think I was going to get that
No.
specific, did you?
I thought you were going to end at first-time visitors. Paris.
No, we're going deep here.
Okay.
12 tourists each year come down with Paris syndrome, which causes them to experience anxiety and delusion, so check, such as believing their hotel room has been bugged or that they are France's long-dead Sun King Louis VII.
Oh. See, I thought Paris syndrome was you thought Paris was going to be better than it is, and then you're depressed.
There is a syndrome like that.
Okay.
I didn't get a chance to include that one in my notes, but I
So
forget
it's
which
like-
city it was. I think it may have been for
think
Paris
it
too.
is
Yeah, I think that
Paris.
is another Paris syndrome.
Yeah. This is a whole nother level. I am the Sun King, or I think the government is spying on me.
And I'm hallucinating. I'm like
Yeah.
seeing things. And these are people who previously have no other mental issues.
Right. That's weird.
It is weird. The theory is that Paris syndrome affects Japanese tourists because of the travel exhaustion, the unsettling contrast between the everyday informality of French life, such as street vendors shouting at them in a language they do not understand, contrasted with the ideal image of the city based on movies and commercials as picturesque Paris.
Yeah.
So that kind of does play to the Paris syndrome you were talking about, where you're like, this is going to be amazing and so clean. And
It's
you're
weird how Paris has this reputation of being like so fancy and having the best food, but then there's like the other stereotype that it's dirty and everyone's mean.
Yeah,
It's
what's
like-
the truth?
Yeah, probably somewhere in the middle.
What's going on, Paris?
Right. But depending on which stereotype you've been fed, you might have a very different experience.
It would be interesting to chart which part of Paris or hotel or experiences you had against your perception of Paris.
Yeah.
I think that would be interesting because it really is two sides of the spectrum. I'd go to Paris, though.
Oh, I would love to go to Paris. Who
I'm not
wouldn't?
going to not go to Paris.
No.
And I'll get the syndrome. This syndrome has caused enough havoc that the Japanese embassy had to open up a 24/7 hotline so that people can call it and they will arrange for them to see a doctor in Paris. But some people's cases are so severe, they have to be like flown out of Paris as soon as possible.
That's weird.
I know.
And it's always they think they're Louis the 14th or they're being bugged.
It varies with any
okay.
you
So
know,
it's just like
symptoms, but it's delusions, anxiety and delusions, which is obviously distressing.
Yeah.
You don't want to be experiencing that. Some people can just rest, in their hotel for a couple of days and be fine, but some people it's like full on Minty B.
How pissed would you be if you went on like your dream Paris vacation with like your mom and then suddenly she's tripping out and having a delusion and ruins your entire vacation?
I feel like I have enough experience to be like, okay, mom, listen, I'm going to go see the Eiffel Tower.
That's true. Maybe it would be a good thing. You can then do your sightseeing on your
I
own.
can do anything. I can go full Hayley syndrome. My mom does her Paris syndrome in the hotel bathroom.
She just has a mental breakdown in the hotel and you're just taking pictures of the Eiffel Tower. You're like pretending to, that's the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Never mind. You're holding it up.
Too. I bike over the fucking, what is it called? The border.
Yeah.
Go to the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Eat your baguette, wear a beret.
Yeah. Cut to my mom tied down with a hotel sheet.
Screaming into the void like in an empty bathtub.
I am the king. I am Louis the Seventh. Well, we'll just have to find out. That's one of those things that you just have to find out.
You just have to go on a mother-daughter trip to Paris.
That would be kind of
That
fun.
would be really
That would
fun.
be a story. I will say I like to do things for the story. So that's Paris syndrome. Let's talk about Lima syndrome. This is Lima syndrome. Yes, thank you. I always say Lima because of Lima
bean.
Ohio.
Oh, gotcha.
Which lima beans are grown in Ohio, so Lima,
that's
Ohio.
where they're from?
Yeah.
Ew, I hate lima beans.
I'm pretty sure I do too. But
so
I always
dry.
pass through Lima. Yeah, we grew lima beans for to learn how the seedling process, they're good for that kind of thing. But yes, Lima syndrome. So do you know about the syndrome?
No.
You just know about Lima.
I just know how to say it.
She can pronounce things. This is the opposite of Stockholm syndrome. So Stockholm syndrome?
Yeah, where you love your captor. This is where you hate your captor.
This is where the captor develops positive emotions for their hostages.
Oh.
Okay, so if you don't know about Stockholm syndrome, that's when someone who is kidnapped or taken hostage or abused develops an emotional attachment to their captors or abusers, and they can go so far as protecting their captors or abusers. Approximately 5 to 8% of hostages actually develop Stockholm syndrome.
That's interesting because I listened to a podcast talking about how Stockholm syndrome isn't real. And it's like a misunderstanding of other things.
Interesting. I have never heard that before.
Yeah.
And that's why we drink. I loved their episodes on Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
The history of it, that would be a great night classy one day. But for now, that's your little synopsis. But like I said, Lima syndrome is when the captor feels the feels for their hostages. And this all developed in 1996. The Japanese ambassador was throwing a birthday party at his residence in Lima, Peru. Attendees consisted of high-level diplomats, government and military officials, and business executives. It was very fancy. Well, 14 members of the Tupac Amaru Revolutionary Movement decided to crash the party and take all 600 guests hostage.
How? That's
I
so
don't
many.
know. Where did they go to management training? Because honestly,
They know how to run an operation.
they do. And you can't tell me it's just from violence. That is 14 versus 600, ma'am.
That's a big undertaking.
Not to be controversial, but
I'm impressed.
I'm impressed. She said it first. It didn't last too long as the captors started feeling bad for the guests after 5 days, which is like
Okay.
kind of
Did they
long.
hurt anyone though?
I'm trying to remember because we have a few hostage like syndromes. We'll get to that in just a second. So they start feeling bad for them and let most of them go within days. They even let high value, quote unquote, hostages go, like the mother of the president of Peru.
Oh.
But then 4 months go by. They still have hostages.
Are you serious?
I'm fucking serious.
And they're all in this one. Is it a
in
house?
this guy's house. I mean, he
had
is the Japanese
600
ambassador.
people in his house.
Yeah, it was rich as fuck. It's like a complex.
Okay.
After 4 months of negotiation, all but one of the hostages was released.
Okay.
And then the military forces raid the property and resolve the situation, but they did end up killing the remaining hostage.
The one
single
guy?
hostage. Yes.
Oh.
And
I thought you were
I
going to
should've
say
laughed.
they were in love with him. I thought
But
they had Lima
the
syndrome.
military people did. Yeah. So like
The military killed him?
yeah.
The military killed him?
I think so. That's what I got from reading
What
it.
the
Because they're like
fuck?
rating it. Okay, they killed everyone in there. So all
Oh.
14 of the hostage takers,
And they couldn't differentiate.
2 commandos and the single hostage. They were probably just like
That
going in
poor
there and
guy.
just firing. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I know.
What the
Wild, right?
Yeah. And that sucks for that guy.
I know.
Like,
The single hostage standing. You're like, you guys go. I'll stay with the hostage takers.
right. Oh my God.
All they need is one, right?
I guess. No.
No.
There's so many action movies like that where they like take off the masks of the people they just killed and it's like, oh my God, this isn't the captors, it's the
Yeah.
hostage people.
I mean, if they were friends by then, they should have just let it happen. They'll
Let
be
what
fine.
happen?
Let them keep the guy. They're being
and just
nice
like,
to him.
oh yeah.
I mean, the military
They have-
killed him, so he would have been better off.
they kept him alive for 4 fucking months.
Right. Why even go in there and shoot everyone if you're not saving anyone? You know? Like, they
Yeah.
killed the guy anyway.
There are extensive sources we can look into for this case. Specifically, I did not go into all of them. So I'm sure if anyone knows about this, please let us know. Because like I said, this is a simple list. So I don't know if it's like they went in and were just firing away.
Yeah. Who knows? It sounds bad.
Sounds bad.
Yeah.
For sure is bad. Okay, so next up we have London syndrome, which is a complete remix of Stockholm and Lima syndrome. London syndrome occurs when one or more of the hostages, quote unquote, provokes their captor to kill them by physically challenging them, trying to escape, or debating the political ideology of the captor.
Okay.
And this to me is funny because as we get into it, you'll see that it just seems like what you would probably try to do if you were a hostage, like trying to get away, trying to
Right.
like physically fight
Yeah, it
your
just sounds like
captor.
trying to get away.
Yeah.
But unless you're provoking them about their politics, like that.
That is
doesn't
antagonistic.
seem- yeah.
Yes. Sometimes the hostage is so successful in purposefully annoying the captor that the captor will kill them the first chance they get. London syndrome came from a 1981 siege of the Iranian embassy in London. 26 people were taken as hostages, and one of them repeatedly provoked and argued with the captors, ignoring the other hostages' pleas for the person to shut the fuck up. After a couple of days, the captors took things to another level and decided to kill one of the hostages to send a message to negotiators. They chose the argumentative hostage.
One. Yeah, as you would.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, it just makes sense. Like, is this a syndrome, or are you all just trying to make
seems
it
like
thing?
Slapping labels on things that are just obvious.
Yeah, stop trying to make London syndrome a thing. Another instance of London syndrome occurred in Beverly Hills in 1986. A guard was held hostage during a botched jewelry store robbery, and unfortunately, even though the guard was subdued and lying face down on the floor, the robber ended up taking his life, not the robber's own life, but the guard's life, because he was, quote, talking back to the robber. Which I'm like, that is just like, unfortunately, things that happen in these scenarios. So I think London syndrome is kind of a scam. Scam!
And there's one data point for London?
There's several,
Oh,
but
okay.
I didn't want to
two
make it.
Well, one was in Beverly Hills.
Oh, true.
But these are things that are named after the cities.
Oh, well,
because
I thought Jerusalem and Paris was like when you go to Jerusalem and when you go to Paris.
Right. That is true.
But the overall lesson is they're named after them.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, next up we have, this one again is controversial. It's I think there's another word for it completely, and let me know what you think the word or phrase may be.
Okay.
But Amsterdam syndrome refers to, quote, the behavior of men who show pictures of their naked spouses or themselves having sex with their spouses without their spouse's awareness or consent.
It's very
revenge
specific.
porn,
Illegal.
or being, illegal, or just
Revenge
being a
porn.
dickhead.
Yeah, being a dick. And I would like to note that there is a congenital syndrome that also has the name Amsterdam syndrome. This is not that.
Don't get them twisted.
It's not that. Please, no one come for me. The term Amsterdam syndrome comes out of the red light district and was first described in 2008. At this time, it was most prevalent, apparently, among Italian men filming their wives or partners naked and then posting them on the
How
internet.
is this a syndrome?
Right?
This is just posting someone's nudes without their permission, which is, like you said, illegal.
And
this is a crime, not a syndrome. I have a murder syndrome where I murder people. Like, what?
Yeah, they're trying to use it in court or something is what it feels like.
Yeah, it seems like a shitty, like, sleazeball lawyer made this up as a defense.
Absolutely. That must have been what happened. And I'm sure I'm like 99% positive it is not medically a syndrome.
Yeah. My mental illness compelled me to illegally share these photos.
Will literally die if I don't press send. Next up, we have Detroit syndrome, which refers to replacing old workers with the younger, faster, stronger employees.
Also
with
not
new
a
knowledge.
syndrome.
Yeah, it's called ageism.
Yeah.
And apparently it's named after Detroit because they're the motor city and they're comparing replacing employees with like replacing an old car.
Okay, somebody had a little too much fun.
The last one is also referred to as a syndrome, but I don't think it I don't think it applies.
You ran out of things. It's okay.
It was all of these sources had the same thing. They're all like syndromes that are named after cities, and they all had these same ones. So Brooklyn syndrome was named during World War II by Navy psychiatrists who were examining recruits. And what they noticed about the recruits for people going to war was that they all seemed to have a chip on their shoulder.
You don't want to die a horrible death and get paid no money and be sent back to the U.S. with no safety net? You don't want that?
You don't
Look me in the eyes. You don't want that?
don't want to carry trauma with you that will not only affect your life, but the ones that you love and continue for decades and generations.
You have a chip on your shoulder. That's just not right. Everyone wants that.
They said that it occurred so frequently, the physician subsequently recognized it as a pattern of behavior characteristic of men from cities where men are seemingly over-argumentative or personally combative.
Okay, so they were just like not afraid to say how they felt.
Yeah. They're
Which
like,
is bad. They felt bad.
I'm scared. I don't want to have to go to war.
Mm-hmm.
This is not fun.
I'm not having a good time.
I'm in danger. Please no. But that's all I've got.
Wow.
So I hope you enjoyed. I felt like that was a good one to end on, our syndrome non-syndromes. I will post all of the sources in the show notes. And that's all, folks.
We will be right back. You already heard all about our Patreon cocktail hour that's happening this Friday, but Patreon has some other things to offer you as well.
Yes, you don't have to wait. We have extra episodes that we put out. Well, one type is every single week. That's our extra credit. And we each come with a fun fact. That includes producer Alec, the behind-the-scenes voice in the shadows.
You get 3 fun facts, and if you love producer Alec, he makes content on Patreon as well. You can listen to Smart Alec, where Alec takes a stab at doing what we do, teaching us a lesson. And we just recorded a very good lesson with him, where he told us about an icy adventure.
It's always adventures with Alec. You can count on that, and I'm sure that's what it'll probably feel like listening, because I know it does for me. But if that's not enough for you, Kat and I also do our own extra lessons. So if you join Patreon, you get a weekly little tidbit extra and 3 total additional lessons. I was going to say episodes. It's not 3 full episodes, but it's like a regular episode, me and Kat, and then plus 1 for Alec. You guys are looking at me like, come on, what are you trying to say? But that's what I'm trying to say.
She's trying to say there's extra content. So if you need more of us, you can go to patreon.com/nightclassy. Not only will you have access to extra content, cocktail hours, but you will also be supporting the show and keeping the ship rolling.
Keep the ship rolling.
Ships roll, right? That's what
Ship
they do?
it.
I don't know.
Ship it on over to Patreon.
We'll see you there.
Bye.
Hello.
Hey.
Are you ready to go on a learning journey?
I'm so ready. I shut my laptop. My ears are on. My eyes are wide.
I love going second and shutting my laptop. Just having to sit there.
Yes, it's the seal of happiness.
It really is.
My laptop lips touch.
Okay. So let me tell you a story. Barbara Millicent Roberts was born on March 9th, 1959 to parents George and Margaret Roberts in Willows, Wisconsin. She grew up with her 3 younger sisters, Skipper, Stacy, and Kelly, who you might know Kelly as Chelsea. She had a little name change later. Barbara, nicknamed Barbie, attended both Willows High School and later Manhattan International High School in New York City. She got a little rewrite later on.
Fancy.
Her closest friends are Midge, Teresa, and Christy.
Midge?
Midge, yeah.
That's the pregnant
That's the
Barbie
pregnant
doll's
one.
name.
Mm-hmm. She didn't start out pregnant, but
none of us do.
No, none of us are born pregnant, hopefully. She also had a long on and off again relationship with her partner, Ken. The two have been more or less together now for over 60 years, but never married. And they did actually have a little breakup there in 2004. And during that breakup, Barbie had a brief fling with an Australian surfer boy named Blaine.
I don't know Blaine.
No, you do. Barbie is extremely adventurous and has a lot of interests. She's had over 40 pets, including dogs, cats, and horses, as well as more exotic animals like a panda, a lion cub, and a zebra.
Okay. I was on the same page for the cats and the horse and the dogs, but a panda?
Yeah, I can't support collectors of endangered animals. That goes against my moral compass, but
Yeah, I have morals.
I'll allow it for Barbie. She's a car collector. She boasts an extensive collection of Volkswagen Beetles, Corvettes, trailers, and Jeeps. And she affords these luxuries by working a number of different jobs. She is a pilot, a surgeon, an astronaut, a NASCAR driver, veterinarian, video game programmer, fashion designer, and these are just a few.
The girl's got ambition. I'll tell you what.
She is doing the thing, all the things.
She either knows Lexapro very well or has never needed intervention.
She knows Adderall very well without a prescription is what it sounds like to me.
Absolutely open, flooded with Adderall.
All of it. Of course, today, as we've already discussed, we are talking about Barbie dolls. Barbie dolls were invented by American woman Ruth Handler at a time when the only dolls available to young girls were baby dolls. Little girls were encouraged to practice mothering on these dolls, but didn't have a toy they could use to imagine an older version of themselves. Ruth watched her daughter Barbara dressing up her adult-aged paper dolls and wished that she could give her a three-dimensional adult doll that she could dress up in fashionable clothes. Mm-hmm. Luckily for Ruth, her husband Elliot was a co-founder of the Mattel toy company, and so she told him about her idea for an adult doll.
Yeah, get rid of the paper dolls. Did you ever play with paper dolls?
No, my older relatives used to buy them for me, and I was like, what the fuck is this? I have Barbies and Polly Pockets. Why are you giving me paper?
Yeah, listen, I'm not at the stage where I can appreciate anything like that. I tried to play with them, but the little tabs that you have to put over like their shoulders to keep their dresses on and stuff, like, it drove my senses crazy to have it not line up right or like have it swish around.
No,
it just
it's
set
not
me off.
fun.
Wait, what are paper dolls?
Literally a paper doll. Like, it's a flat piece of paper that you can like prop up and you cut like outfits for them.
You guys had to play with that?
Yeah.
It sounds like you're from the Great Depression or
I
something.
know. Well,
Yes,
that's
it is
Yeah.
from the Great Depression and even earlier than that, I'm sure.
I mean, they had corn husk dolls, paper dolls, and now finally we're at Barbies.
They need to create old dolls too. Now that we have Barbie in like her prime time years, they need to have old dolls so
That's
that they
true.
can also envision what it's like to be older. You know what? I take that back. I had a grandma and grandpa Barbie doll.
Oh, you did? That's
Oh,
nice.
girl, I had all the fucking Barbie dolls and the Bratz dolls.
I wasn't allowed to have Bratz dolls, which is a real bummer.
Yeah, that is a bummer. My grandma would never buy me Bratz dolls either. They wore too much makeup.
Yep, exactly. And skimpy clothes, which, I mean, Barbie does the same thing. So who are we trying to fool here with our Bratz ban? My favorite dolls, though, my great grandma would buy me like collectible porcelain dolls. And a lot of times they had fairy wings.
Dolls?
No, they weren't creepy. They were beautiful. They weren't babies. They were like pretty young girls with like curly hair. And like I said, a lot of times they had fairy wings or angel wings. I loved those. Anyway, she told him her idea, but he and the execs didn't like it. They're like, no, you're a stupid woman. Stay in your place. Girls want to play with babies and be moms. In 1956, Ruth and her family were on a vacation in Germany, and there she found a doll named Build Lily. Build Lily was pretty much exactly the doll Ruth had been picturing when she wanted an adult doll for her child. She was about a foot tall, she was mature, she was fashionable, and most of all, sexy.
Oh, I was not expecting that.
Well, she was sexy.
Boobies.
She did. Probably because she was originally sold in cigar shops as a gag gift for adult men.
Okay, so yeah, the men get the full-grown female doll to play with.
That's what men want
long
to
before.
do.
Like, do you have Amsterdam syndrome and your wife's mad at you?
And I was kind of confused about this when I first heard it because it sounds like she's a sex doll, but she's not. I think it's just like a funny joke to give like this sexy doll to like your bro. I don't know.
Yeah,
It
not
sounds
funny,
weird.
ha. Funny, weird.
Yeah, exactly. But like, even though this was the origin of the doll, and people probably had these dolls in their houses, and then their kids started playing with them, and by now, like, she'd kind of been reappropriated as a kid's toy. Kids were playing with her. They liked dressing her up in different outfits. So Ruth bought 3 Build Lily dolls and brought them back to the States. She gave one to her daughter and the other 2 to Mattel. And now that they could see the inspo, Mattel agreed to make the doll, and Barbie was born. She was named after Ruth's daughter, Barbara. And fun fact, when they added Ken is named after her son. So they each got a doll.
I see. Yeah, she brings the dolls to Mattel, and they're like, why does it have so many holes in
no.
places?
No.
Like,
she's not that kind of doll.
Again, we cannot get on board with this.
We can't sell this to children.
Barbara, please.
Barbie was marketed as a teen fashion model and sported a black and white striped swimsuit, sunglasses, and she came in brunette and blonde. And Alec, I have a photo
Iconic
of her if you want to see. I think she's hideous, but I guess that was the style
Times
of the
have
time.
changed.
Times have really changed.
She looks like blonde Cruella de Vil.
Yeah, she kind of does. I think I just don't like her hairstyle, but that's fine.
The curly bangs are really like of the time.
Yeah,
and the makeup is super, super strong. I mean, everyone like be who you want to be.
Right.
She's Barbie.
She's iconic, but not my style.
Yes.
The doll debuted in 1959 at the American International Toy Fair in New York City and was a pretty much instant success. Mattel sold 350,000 Barbie dolls in their first year of production, and sales only continued to soar.
Damn.
Today, Mattel claims they sold $1.35 billion in Barbies in 2020, and that 3 Barbies are purchased every second.
I love that Barbie is a tale as long as time. Maybe not as old as time, but
1959 to now.
Yeah, that's what I said. As long as it is long. But I hope if I ever have kids, they'll play with Barbies too.
Yeah, me too.
If they want to.
And these numbers are, of course, only expected to grow since the very successful release of the Barbie movie, which I still haven't fucking seen. I need to go see it.
Either we can just say that we're supporting the strike by not going to see the movie. The actors and writers strike.
Yeah, but the movie was made before that, right?
Yeah, but the studios are still profiting if we go to see it now and give it any attention.
I guess, but I really want to see it.
I do too. But just for this instance.
Okay. But Barbie sales have not always been on an upward trajectory. It's no secret that Barbie has severe inclusivity problems, which is largely to blame for declining sales in the 2010s. So people started to of course, people have always noticed this, at least I hope so, but it was really being pointed out a lot in the 2010s. People weren't buying them as much because, I mean, it like if they're all skinny and blonde, like you wouldn't want to buy that for your daughter who maybe doesn't look like that. And what kind of message does that send?
It means so much to be represented in the things that you're seeing in the world.
Right. So to address these declining sales, Mattel introduced 7 new skin tones, 22 eye colors, 24 hairstyles, and 3 body types, tall, petite, and curvy in 2016. And I have a picture of some of these on the next slide. These are some of the Barbies they put out into the market.
Cool. I haven't seen these because, I haven't been buying Barbies in a little while.
I love going down the Barbie aisle at Target.
I need to start doing that.
It's really fun.
I have never even thought of that.
It gives like extreme nostalgia and also FOMO because I wish I had like all these Barbies when I was a kid. So today, Barbie offers even more than that. They have dolls in 22 skin tones, 94 hairstyles, 13 eye colors, and 5 body types. But it took a really long time to get there. For most of Barbie's history, she has been overwhelmingly thin and white. The first ever African-American Barbie was Christy. She was a companion doll for Barbie who debuted in 1968. I have a picture of Christy here on the next slide. Yep, there she is. So this is what she looked like. She is super cute. I love her outfit.
When was that?
1968. So this was actually a really progressive move for Barbie because this is the height of the civil rights movement. And they created a black Barbie. So although Christy had a lot to be desired, like she was a side character. She wasn't a Barbie. She was Barbie's friend. And she also used the same mold as the white doll. So if you look at her face, it looks pretty much identical to the white doll, just a different skin tone and hair. She wasn't given African-American facial features. So she definitely could have been better, but at the time, this was a progressive move.
A step.
A step. And the trend continued of using the same mold as the white Barbies for black Barbies. The first standalone black Barbie was launched in 1980. So big gap from 1968 to 1980. And I have her on the next slide.
Oh my God.
So this is her with how bright it is in the office. It's hard to see her face on this slide. But she also has the white Barbie face, just a different skin color. She's still gorgeous, though. She has this sparkly, like, disco red dress. And the box says she's black, she's beautiful, she's dynamite. But again, like Christy before her, she had Caucasian features. So finally, in 1990, Mattel got a focus group together. I know. 10 years later.
After the initial 12 years.
Right. They really dragged their feet on this. Like, it is not cute. So anyway, finally they got their shit together. In 1990, they had a focus group that included African-American children and parents, childhood specialists, and clinical psychologists. And
okay, Barbie.
Yeah,
Okay,
they're kind of trying now. It took them fucking long enough, but eventually they did it. And they used what they found in these focus groups to design a new Barbie with distinctly African-American skin tones, facial features, and hair textures. Since then, Barbies have been more diverse, and Mattel has, for the most part, avoided diversity controversy, except in 2001 when they released a black Oreo-themed Barbie. And she's here on the next slide. So this move was part of a promotional partnership with Oreo, and the commercial was kind of like how you could share, like, cookies and milk with your Barbie, like at the end of a school day or whatever. And there was a white doll first for a few years, and then they added the black doll. But do you know why this is controversial? Yeah, because of the derogatory term Oreo.
Yeah.
That's used to describe a person of color that is a person of color, but, like, quote unquote seems white or acts white. And, like, I don't think anyone was trying to be racist, but I think it shows they didn't have any or enough people of color on their team to, like, point this out and be like, don't you think this is a little problematic? So they definitely showed their asses.
Yeah, just that it could be perceived that way.
It's not a great look. I mean, there was a white Barbie first. And it's, like, kind of ironic because it seems like they were trying to be inclusive by adding the black Barbie later, but they just really shit the bed.
It clearly wasn't their intention, but that's the whole issue, is that if you had enough perspectives and gave enough of those perspectives a platform, then things like this could be avoided.
Yeah. So they recalled the dolls and ended that whole partnership.
Wow.
Yeah. But that's made this doll very sought after by collectors because she's rare. Barbie has also, of course, gotten a lot of heat for her body shape. When Barbie first came out, parents were upset by her big boobs. But Ruth felt really strongly that she had to have breasts because it showed that Barbie is an adult and not a baby doll. It was, like, distinctive. Which, okay, I mean, some adults don't have big boobs and some develop them very early, but whatever.
Yeah.
That was her reasoning.
Okay.
Aside from her breasts, Barbie is also very thin. She's made on about a 1/6 scale of a human. So if Barbie were a human, she would be 5'9". She'd have a 36-inch chest, an 18-inch waist, and 36-inch hips. So these are obviously really unrealistic measurements to have on a human being and have been linked to some eating disorders in children.
Have you seen that video where they Photoshop a totally just average, typical woman into Barbie's measurements and what it would look like and how much she would have to change to actually fit into that mold?
No.
It's so mind-blowing.
Yeah.
We saw it in like photography, and it was on a whole lesson about how, the things that you see in magazines can be totally different than reality.
Totally.
And as we were learning Photoshop, I really appreciate that looking back now, that our teacher thought of that.
Yeah.
Proceed with caution.
And I don't know how true this is, but I saw in like a few sources that if Barbie had those proportions, like I think she wouldn't be able to stand up like the way the doll is standing, like on her toes. She would fall over.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true, but I saw that a couple
core.
times. To make things even worse, there was a Barbie sold in 1963 called Barbie Babysits. And Alec, you can turn to the next slide. It came with a mini book titled How to Lose Weight. And it said, don't eat on the side of it. Uh-huh.
What?
And there's
Why
a
would
picture
they
here.
even do that?
Right. It has nothing to do with babysitting.
Yeah, you'd think it'd be like American Red Cross Babysitters Club.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
What the fuck?
I guess that was just like her light reading for after the kids go to bed is a diet book.
Yeah, it's clearly men in charge of creating
this is
these
what
Barbies.
women think about all the time.
Yeah, and this is what we
dieting.
want to reinforce
Right.
of the young girls who are going to be women.
Exactly. And this same book came with Slumber Party Barbie, sold in 1965, along with a pink scale that was permanently set at 110 pounds. And that's pictured as well.
I weighed 110 pounds in 6th grade.
Yeah. Yeah. Because Barbie is 5'9". So if she's 110 pounds, that makes her severely, not severely, but definitely like officially underweight.
Yeah.
Not to say like it's wrong if you are 110 pounds and 5'9", but that's definitely not the norm.
There's no right number.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be, unless, you want to lose weight or, whatever. You do you.
Mm-hmm.
But there's not a singular perfect number that is 110 that should be put in front of all these young people.
Especially not a super
Barbie.
tall 5'9" woman. Like that just is super thin. So again, it's reinforcing that unhealthy expectation. Like I said earlier, Mattel did release some more size-inclusive Barbies in 2016, but even the curvy Barbie, and I say curvy in heavy quotes, has proportions of a human size 4.
Yeah, it's kind of like the quote-unquote plus size of the 2000s.
Right. And like plus size models who, sure, they're plus sized, but they also have like unrealistic body proportions.
And they're
very
only
idealized.
plus size because the quote-unquote typical size is nowhere
Is
near
very small.
the actual typical size.
Absolutely.
Or the median mean size, not typical. No
Right.
one's typical.
Yeah. So in recent years, they have been offering an increasing number of inclusive dolls across the board. That includes differently able dolls. There's Barbies in wheelchairs. They rolled out a Down syndrome Barbie recently, a Barbie with Down syndrome recently. There was also a chemo Barbie that was bald that was distributed to hospitals. So they're getting better. Barbie has also been criticized as being a quote-unquote dumb blonde that's a bad role model for young girls. There is some truth to that because in 1992, Mattel released the Teen Talk Barbie, and each one was programmed to say 4 of 270 possible phrases. So that's kind of fun. You get a Barbie, you don't know what it's going to say. They should all have different combinations of phrases. A lot of these were harmless things like, want to have a pizza party, to kind of borderline like things that play into stereotypes of women, like, will I ever have enough clothes? And I love shopping, which like aren't bad. But
accurate.
Yeah, honestly,
Like you guys say that every day.
Yeah, but I mean, you understand why it's like stereotyping, right?
Yeah, it
And
needs
how
to have a
might-
variation. It
Yeah,
should be like,
there should be some.
also E equals MC squared.
Exactly. Like, let's say some
Smart
other
stuff.
things too. Yeah, throw some smart stuff in.
I enjoyed Oppenheimer.
The one that made people the most upset was math class is tough, which
It
it
is
is though. I know. So like part.
Yes, keep agreeing with the female stereotypes.
I mean, as a math teacher, I think it could be beneficial for kids who struggle in math to have a doll that like understands their struggles. But again, like, I don't think there was another phrase that said math class is fun. Like,
Yeah, or even like, math class might be tough, but I can do it.
exactly. I can try my hardest. Or
I may
whatever.
be an idiot, but I have motivation.
I may have boobs, but Ken can do my math homework for me.
I had this house growing up, a Barbie house that had like batteries, and different parts of the house spoke with different buttons and things. And the phone would randomly ring when you had it on. And if you didn't answer it, it would leave a message. And it was various messages like, hey, do you want to take the kids out to the park after school?
Yeah.
But there is one that came up, and I probably have told you this already.
I don't think so.
There was one message that came up once in a blue moon. Like, I'm talking every couple of months. And my stepsister and I remember this because it was so weird. It was like it was possessed or something. The message would be someone like laughing and then crying. It was like,
Oh my God.
it was really
That's
scary.
really weird.
And we sat there for a whole day pressing the button throughout the day, like until we would get tired of it, trying to get it to play again. And it would just randomly go off.
That's so creepy. I wonder if it was possessed. If
I wonder
you had
too.
the same experience, tell us. Like,
Yes, please, please, please do.
a couple months after this Barbie's released, public outrage had them like remove the phrase, and Mattel offered to swap a new doll for anyone who had the like bad at math Barbie. They'd trade you. In the 2010s,
Give them all to me. I'll take them.
yeah. In the 2010s, Mattel put out an I Can Be Barbie book series. And these are books where Barbie excels in different careers. Like sometimes the career is hard, but she perseveres and she can do it.
They're like, all right, the first one is Pornhub Barbie.
OnlyFans Barbie.
Amsterdam Syndrome Barbie.
So again, in most of these books, like she could do the hard thing. Except in the I Can Be a Computer Engineer book, where Barbie is like terrible with the computer and like accidentally downloads a virus, and then male colleagues have to bail her out.
They have to save the day.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing, if anything, the male colleagues are going to give you a virus, okay?
And it won't be on the computer.
She got it. She picked up what I was putting down. And I'm not speaking from experience, so let that be very clear.
Mattel has, in recent years, tried to move away from perpetuating these negative stereotypes about women. In 2018, they put out a series of dolls called Barbie Celebrates Role Models. And this series included dolls of Frida Kahlo, Patty Jenkins, Chloe Kim, Gabby Douglas, Bindi Irwin, Abihaj Muhammad, and many more. So they are trying. But
just put the women in charge. That's literally
Right.
all they had to do.
diversify your team
Yep.
and things will be much better. There are like many more controversies and criticisms of Barbie. I do not have time to get into it here. I will link the Wikipedia page as one of my sources. You can read about them. But one very complicated aspect of Barbie is that she's sometimes promoted as a feminist icon, while at the same time criticized as being anti-feminist. And a lot of people have correctly pointed out that Barbie's appearance is catered toward the male gaze, which like is hard to deny since she was modeled after a literal sexy like gag gift for men. At the same time, Barbie was the first doll that encouraged little girls to envision their future as something other than a mother. Even if Barbie's original career choices were more traditionally women's jobs like nurse, flight attendant, secretary, and ballerina, encouraging little girls to want a career was still progressive at the time. And with that being said, like most of these were stereotypical women's jobs, but there was also like astronaut Barbie in the 1960s. So again, like even if we look back on these things now as being misogynistic and anti-feminist, like they were progressive for the time.
Yeah, context matters.
Yeah. And now, of course, Barbie has been pretty much everything under the sun. She's had over 250 different careers since her invention. And I have a little slideshow here of some of my favorites.
Oh, yes. I love visual supports.
So first we have Pizza Hut and McDonald's cashier Barbie.
So freaking fun. That McDonald's apron, she is working it.
I would have loved this as a kid. There's also like coffee shop Barbie, noodle shop Barbie. Like there's a ton of different food Barbies, which love. Like there's nothing better than playing with miniature food as a child.
Did you ever have a play or get to play with a play drive-through? Like
No.
a pretend. Oh
But
my
that sounds
God.
really fun. We had like a grocery store like cash register toy.
Also fun. My grandma would set up a grocery store for me. She had a like calculator, I guess, that put out a receipt and stuff.
Fun.
So I got to do that. And we like lined up all of these dinner trays and we would like roll down the canned goods and I'd be like, beep, beep. But yeah, the drive-through PlayStation hits different. I'll tell you
that sounds really fun. I missed out. Next is game show host Barbie. Also looks really fun. And next is UNICEF ambassador Barbie, which I just thought is oddly specific.
Okay. Sponsored.
And also she looks like a pageant queen, not an ambassador, but
yeah, also
okay.
very interesting. Okay.
We have detective Barbie, which I just think is fun. She looks very 90s, looks
Very
like
90s.
straight out of a sitcom.
Does not look like a detective
No.
at all.
No, I think she has a pair of binoculars and maybe a what is it? A magnifying glass.
She's more
possibly.
like private investigator Barbie. That is not detective Barbie.
They didn't go as far as like putting a cop uniform on her, which I appreciate.
Yeah, that is nice.
She looks more like someone who'd be on a smoke break at a mall in the 90s.
No, that is your run-of-the-mill average girl in the 90s.
Yeah.
Oh, I
think-
thought you were going to say detective. I was like, no, it's not.
I think she has a walkie-talkie and a notebook. That's detective-y.
The walkie-talkie is giving mall. I will give
True.
you that, Alec.
She has a flashlight, I think, and a camera. Oh, she's a detective. We'll give it to her.
She's a plainclothes detective.
There's Matador Barbie.
Whoa.
I was not expecting that.
Look at her shoulder pads.
Look at her tiny
pink
feet.
Boots. Yeah. Look at her freaking hat.
I love it.
Look at
It's
the
so
look on her
weird.
face. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah,
she's like, come here, you
she-
little bull.
Is a career woman. There's Usher Barbie, which
What? Oh.
I also
I thought you meant Usher, like the rap artist. I was like, okay, speaking of problematic, how did they get that done?
no, but she's like she's literally like a movie theater attendant. Again, it's just so specific.
She's fabulous. I
She
want
is.
to be Matador Barbie.
I know.
Her hair, the volume.
This is Usher Barbie.
Usher Barbie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
Matador Barbie too, I could go for it.
And I just loved this one because she's not dressed like an usher. She's wearing like thigh-high fishnets and like this little turquoise mini suit. She's
She's
cute.
like burlesque
Mhm.
Usher.
Exactly. There's Magician Barbie, which I just
What?
think is fun.
That
The
is
box.
not Magician
Oh, that's
Barbie.
not. That's paleontologist Barbie. Sorry.
I was like, that looks like
I missed
MLM
one.
Barbie.
I was gonna say no fucking way MLM Barbie. Totally.
No, paleontologist Barbie, which is also really fun. She has like little dinosaur bones.
Did you guys ever eat dinosaur oatmeal? with the
Yes,
eggs?
I fucked so hard with
so
it.
good.
It was so good.
Oh my god, I need to get some now. I'm
The
going to
best
Kroger
part
after
was like
this.
taking the eggs out and like sucking on them until you got the dinosaur Parasaur.
Yes, make it dissolve. Oh,
Weren't they just chalky?
Yeah, they were like sugar balls.
I
Yeah, I
love
didn't like
some
it.
chalky candy.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I did not like
Here
it.
for the chalk.
Next is Magician Barbie. And my favorite part of Magician Barbie is it says Fabracadabra on the box, which is so cute.
Amazing.
And she's got a little bunny in a hat.
Yeah, this is like magician's assistant takes over.
Yeah.
Like she killed him before the show, and now the show must go on.
She's gorgeous. I love her big hair.
Yeah.
There's also Beekeeper Barbie, which is fun.
Hey,
I mean, I'm saying they're fun
They're
as if I
all
didn't put this
fun.
list together because they're my favorites.
Ooh, I like it.
I like this one. Oh, I like this one. Judge Barbie.
Hey,
Which-
powerful woman.
She's amazing. As a child who was obsessed with Judge Judy, I would have loved this Barbie, which is why I put her on the list.
I think that probably the best part of being a judge is getting to pick the little doily.
Yeah.
You get to wear.
Do you
around
get to
your neck.
pick? I thought
Yeah,
you
you
just
get to
had to
pick
wear
it.
I think
one.
you have to be able to pick it.
Okay.
I mean, you made it this far.
'Cause
You should be able to
Ginsburg-
get to pick your doily.
She like famously made her own, right?
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Best part of being a judge.
I don't know. Where do you even buy a Judge Doily?
The Judge Doily Supply Store.
I guess.
Etsy.
Etsy, probably. There's Chief Sustainability Officer Barbie.
What?
I think this was part of like a whole like conservation, like environmentalist Barbie series. Barbie's trying to solve global warming,
Hey,
you know, by
I
making a
love
bunch
it.
of microplastics, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah, 3 a second are going into our oceans.
Yeah. Pet photographer Barbie.
Oh,
She's just cute. I like her
I'm
dress.
glad this one actually comes with a dog because
Uh-huh.
Vet Barbie, or not Vet Barbie, Magician Barbie, it showed the little bunny and the hat, but it was a paper bunny.
No, it was a paper dog. It was a real bunny.
It was it
I
was.
think-
I
I
don't know. It
think.
looks pretty fucking.
I'll
fake
like
to
roll
me.
back the tape. No, that's a real bunny.
No,
That is
really?
yeah, that's a real bunny in a hat, but it's a paper dog down there.
Oh, okay. I'm not.
Haley
convinced.
is further away from the screen.
Yeah, she can't see it.
I'm
She doesn't
just
have
dumb.
eyes.
Math class is hard.
I want to go shopping.
Meanwhile, 15 minutes before the show, I was talking about going shopping in all the different places I should
We
go
had
shopping.
to delay starting the podcast because Haley was shopping.
Yeah, you guys are like, yeah, that's such a stereotype. I'm like, okay.
How dare people say girls like to shop?
It is my favorite activity, I think.
Mine
I
too.
swear.
What if I was like secretly recording and I like cut it in? Like,
You send it to Mattel. You were
It's
right
true,
all
guys.
along.
women do love shopping.
And finally, we have my very, very favorite Barbie, which is Tooth Fairy Barbie.
She's beautiful.
She is beautiful. She looks like Ariana Grande.
Where are the teeth, though?
She doesn't need them.
I need to see the teeth if it's
Oh,
going to
you
be
mean
Tooth
like
Fairy
a tooth
Barbie.
for her? I thought
Yeah.
you meant she didn't have her mouth open. I
She
was like, do
needs to
most Barbies?
No, she needs to be like holding a tooth, or like maybe her crown is made of teeth.
You're so right. The crown or the wand should have a tooth on it.
yeah.
Yeah. you're
Otherwise,
right.
she's just Fairy Barbie.
Which she still pulls off, but you're correct about the teeth. She's missing teeth.
She is missing teeth.
But
Sorry.
she's beautiful.
8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. Only because of the teeth thing. Otherwise, 20 out of 10.
I wonder if they
beautiful.
designed it and then it just like looked weird or was a choking hazard or
Yeah,
something.
maybe it was like too camp with the teeth. They wanted her to be taken
Well,
seriously.
I think it would make sense maybe sell the tooth separately, because if she's a Barbie and she's a fairy, she's very small. So the tooth could be pretty big. It could be like a pillow. It could be a pillow with a little pocket for you to put your tooth in, Haley.
work
For
it-
the tooth fairy.
Now you're talking. I'm going to send this episode for Mattel and you're going to be hired.
I'm a
That's such a good idea.
capitalist. Oh no. My grandma made those for us when we were little, though.
That's cute.
It was very, very cute little pillow and a little tiny pocket.
My parents used to make me put my tooth on my nightstand. And at the time they told me it was because that's easier for the tooth fairy to get.
It is.
It is. And that's
Fairly.
true.
That holds true.
Find the lie. Barbie can be whatever you want her to be, and that's what makes her so special. To round us out, I just have a few Barbie fun facts really
I love
quick.
a good fun fact.
I'm gonna become a little list bitch. Jack Ryan is the man who designed the original Barbie, and he created her iconic twist to turn waist and her clicking knee joints. Before
I
he
feel
worked
that.
before he worked for Mattel, he designed missiles for the Pentagon.
Okay, Jack. Multi-skilled. Is that what his name was? You looked at me like,
yeah, he's a
okay,
jack of all trades. He's
Look at that. You really fulfill your namesake, don't you?
He did. He's putting that engineering degree to work.
You better work, bitch.
The original Barbie's eyes, like you, if you're watching, saw in the beginning, were cast sideways. Like she's kind of looking off to the side, and she got her forward-facing eyes in 1971. The likelihood of a real woman having Barbie's exact proportions is, do you want to guess? 1 in what?
1 in 1 million.
1 in 100,000, which is more likely than I would have guessed.
Yeah.
Yeah. There, like Hayley knows very well, there was a pregnant Barbie named Midge in 2002, which was pulled from the shelves because she wasn't wearing a wedding ring, so people felt she was promoting teen pregnancy.
Okay, she's clearly a woman, and she had a husband, and she had a whole other kid.
Yeah, if you follow the backstory, she was married with another kid.
And it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, absolutely. But also, I think they just didn't want to make a new mold that had a ring. Like, her hands are already kind of set in stone.
Yeah, get the fuck over it.
Right, for real. I like pregnant Barbie.
She's pregnant. Her fingers are swollen as fuck.
Yeah.
She cannot get the ring on.
Be realistic here.
If you knew what it was like to be pregnant, which I obviously do, you would know that it's not an option. But she did have the heels. She had purple heels, so I guess her feet were not swelling yet.
Yeah.
Or she just
sized up.
She just sized up.
Gotta do it.
In her fucking stilettos. open toe.
Many famous designers and design houses have designed outfits for Barbie, including Gucci, Versace, Bob Mackie, Oscar de la Renta, Dolce & Gabbana, and Christian Louboutin. So there's some fashionable Barbies out there, to name a few. And my favorite fun fact, and the one I'm going to end on, is Barbie used to have younger siblings named Tootie and Todd.
Tootie and Todd.
Yeah. Maybe it's Tootie, but it's spelled Tutti.
I like Tootie. I think
Tootie.
that would be a good name for some dogs.
Yeah, Tootie and Todd.
Tootie and Todd.
I just think Tootie is... What were they thinking? I don't know.
Tutti Fruttis was really popular.
Yeah, maybe that's what they were going for. And I forgot to put them on the slide, but they're pretty ugly.
They should have named them Tootie and Fruity. Where did Todd come from?
Well, it wasn't a paid collaboration, unlike Oreo Barbie, so they couldn't do that.
Oh, yeah. I wonder what controversy would have been drummed up with Tootie and Fruity.
Tutti and Fruity. The LGBTQ community might have something to say about it. All right. Well, thank you all so much for listening to my lesson. That's all I have on Barbie.
I loved it. So was your lesson Barbie controversies?
You would think. I mean, that's just like most of what the articles are about that I'm
searched.
dumb.
I'm controversial. Math is hard.
That's what I found most interesting was the controversies. I'm sure she has many positive accolades. I mean,
yeah.
We went over a whole slideshow of her different careers.
For sure. We love a good scandal around here. I loved your lesson.
That's all I want to hear. Anyway. Thank you, Hayley, for listening. Thank you, Alec, for listening. Thank you, listeners, for listening. If you enjoyed this, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Follow us on social media, and maybe even join us on Patreon. We have a cocktail hour this week. We're excited to see you there. And as always, thank you. We love you. And 3, 2, 1, class dismissed.
Nice.